Hey guys, Saltwheel29 here again, and well, recently I've been kind of swamped with uni and stuff, so I haven't been able to make any decent deck profiles. But if you're just talking about non-decent degenerate decks, then as you can see here, I've put together a deck I'd like to call the Solitaire Exodia. Basically, I call it solitaire because you will be playing by yourself with this deck. You won't care what your opponent does, and you don't care what they're going to play. But you know, solitaire can be kind of fun in its own way when you don't really want to socialize with other people. And that's pretty much why this deck exists. And so without further ado, let's get to the deck profile. So obviously, first off, we have the 5 pieces of Exodia because you need them to make the Exodia. And then we have 2 Blue Eyes White Dragon and 1 Blue Eyes Toon Dragon, followed by 2 White Stones of Legend, and finally 2 Flamvell Guards for the monsters. The reason why I don't just run 3 White Stones of Legend is because sometimes you don't have a target for Cards of Consonance in your hand, and it's nice to be able to bring back Flamvell Guard from your graveyard using Dark Factory of Mass Production. So that's why I run 2 Flamvell Guards. And for the spells, I've sorted them in the order in which you're supposed to activate them. So the ones I say first have a priority of being activated first, as opposed to the later ones. So first we have the Toon Table of Contents. You activate these straight away if you see them in your hand, because you don't want to run into multiple copies in your hand. And then when you can basically search yourself, and when you use your last copy, you search for the Blue Eyes Toon Dragon. A deck thinner by 3 cards, so I'd say it's pretty decent. And then we have 3 trade-ins for the 3 Blue Eyes, including the Blue Eyes Toon Dragon. And then we have 3 Cards of Consonance for the 4 tuners that we have. And following that, we have 1 Hidden Armory, which is super important to search out one of your 3 Cursed Bamboo Swords, which is also necessary to activate the Golden Bamboo Swords, which is basically your product read once you have the Cursed Bamboo Sword out on the field. And then of course we have the 3 Upstart Goblins, because thins the deck by 3. And then we have our 3 copies of Hand Destruction. Usually with this card you want to discard your vanilla monsters or your extra Cursed Bamboo Swords or any other dead spells in your hand. And it's really good because it gives your deck speed. The only downside is that you need your opponent to have 2 cards as well, because yeah, they need to discard their 2 cards in order to draw 2 new cards. And if all else goes wrong, you have one day of peace, which lets you draw 1 card and basically gives you another turn to live. And finally, we have our 3 copies of Dark Factory of Mass Production. Even though I put these last, it doesn't mean that you have to activate them last. You can activate them if you have a dead trade-in or Cards of Consonance in your hand, and you happen to have a Flamvell Guard or Blue Eyes White Dragon in your graveyard. And these cards are basically the reason why you can run Hand Destruction without losing card advantage. So yeah, really good card. And that's it for the main deck. As for the extra deck, feel free to run actually whatever you want. I just like to run 15 cards in my extra deck, because if you run 0 cards in your extra deck, it kind of shows your opponent that you're running some degenerate deck or like some gimmicky deck. So yeah, I put 15 cards, but put whatever. But the most important cards is the Formula Synchrons, because it lets you draw, and the Shimoji Soldier, which also lets you draw more cards. And yeah, that's it for the actual deck. For the side, we have 1 Dark Eruption, which basically replaces one of the Dark Factory of Mass Production, because the thing with the Dark Factory of Mass Production, it only fetches vanilla monsters, while the head of the Exodia is an effect monster. So yeah, this covers that. And we have one White Elephant's Gift. You can replace the Hidden Armory if you feel like you want to normal summon a vanilla monster and tribute it for 2 cards. And if you happen to run to a lot of people who just plays everything straight out of their hands, which basically makes hand destruction useless because you need your opponent needs at least 2 cards in their hand for hand destruction to activate. Well, Dark World Dealings lets you draw 1 card before discarding, so they don't need to have any cards in your hand. And yeah, you can basically replace the hand destruction, but it is a bit slower since you're only ditching 1 card to draw 1 card. And finally, if you see a lot of banishing from your opponent's side, you can side in the Burial from Different Dimension, because it lets you return 3 cards back to your graveyard. Obviously, if one of your Exodia pieces gets banished and if you don't have this card, then you basically lose. So yeah, that's all for my my gimmicky Solitaire Exodia deck, and I'm going to be showing you the duel in live, because there's not really much of an interesting replay by showing you how this deck works against real people. So I'll just be versing the AI and showing you basically how it works. Okay, so now we're going to the AI mode and verse a random AI deck, because this is a very annoying deck to verse against real people. And when you win the Scissors Paper Rock, you generally want to go second, because first, it gives you 1 extra draw, and second, it gives your opponent an incentive to summon a face-up monster, which you can then put your Cursed Bamboo Sword on. Okay, since we have our 1 Hidden Armory, we're going to activate it and search for the Cursed Bamboo Sword. It also mills 1 card, which happens to be our White Stone of Legend, which is really good, since now we can search for our Blue Eyes White Dragon. And now, since we have our Blue Eyes White Dragon, we're going to activate Trade In, ditch 1, and draw 2. Unfortunately, since we don't really have any other combos, we're going to activate our first Pot of Duality and search for another 2 cards that we can add to our hand. So in this case, nothing really helps. So we're just going to add the Cursed Bamboo Sword into our hand. And then we're going to end our turn, send our Cursed Bamboo Sword to the graveyard, and activate its effect to search for the Golden Bamboo Sword. And then we can just send the leg piece to the graveyard. If your opponent is running a rank 4 monster, beware of Rhapsody in Berserk, because that can banish your Exodia pieces, and you have no way of retrieving banished cards from your grave in your main deck. Fortunately, our opponent didn't OT Chaos, because he doesn't run it doesn't run the Gagaga Cowboy. Oh, sorry for the lag. It seems my computer is very shitty to handle both the dueling and the recording at the same time. So now that it's our turn again, we're going to well, we can activate our Ghastly Bamboo Sword and equip it on one of the monsters, and unfortunately it's going to get MSD'd. Fortunately though, when the Cursed Bamboo Sword gets MSD'd, we get to search 1 more Golden Bamboo Sword. So yeah, it's pretty good in that sense. We're going to activate our first Dark Factory of Mass Production, and then, since we don't really have any good cards to chuck with hand destruction, and now we're going to activate the hand destruction and chuck in what we just got with Dark Factory of Mass Production. Okay, so it's not looking too bad now. We have our Ghastly Cursed Bamboo Sword and the Golden Bamboo Sword, but we're going to activate the Upstart Goblin first, and we drew into the Toon table of contents, which is really good since we didn't run into multiple copies at all in this duel. So now we're just going to keep searching itself, and using the last copy we're going to search the Blue Eyes Toon Dragon. So now that we're done with the the Toon table of contents, we're going to start using the golden bamboo sword combo. We don't particularly have any better choice, so we're going to activate another golden bamboo sword. And now, since we have our tuner, we're going to activate our Cards of Consonance and chuck in the White Stone of Legend into the graveyard. And it seems that we don't have any better choice, so we're going to activate Hand of Destruction again and chuck in 2 cards to the graveyard. Okay, so we now have trade in again, so we're going to chuck the blue eyes into the graveyard, and we have Cards of Consonance, so we're going to chuck our Flamvell Guard into the graveyard. Then we're going to keep this drawing and drawing and drawing until you see basically you have all the card advantage in your hand. So yeah, we basically went through our deck in 2 turns. So if you don't run into 1 Day of Peace in your first turn and you have to let your opponent attack you, just hope that your opponent doesn't OTK, or well, basically you lose since you don't have any defenses. So now that we've gone through our whole deck, we're going to start using the Dark Factory of Mass Production and get back all the pieces from the graveyard. And just like that, we won the duel. I'm going to be doing another one just to show you into what other kind of situations you might run into. Okay, so now our hand looks pretty bad. So actually, never mind that. We just drew into our Cursed Bamboo Sword, so we are going to activate that, and sadly it gets MST'd again. So we're going to get our last Golden Bamboo Sword, and hopefully we're going to run into our another Cursed Bamboo Sword soon enough. So again, with the Toon table of contents, just activate it before anything else and get all your search going. So now we have 2 choices. We can just pass the turn, or we can set something. I'm just going to set our White Stone of Legend here, since that way we can search for our 1 Blue Eyes of Dragon, and we already have 1 tuner here, so if we draw a Cards of Consonance, we can still have our draw engine going. Okay, so we're going to activate our Pot of Reality since we have nothing else, and we could pick 2 things here. We could pick our Trade-in, and we could pick our Ghastly Bamboo Sword. But the risk with the Cursed Bamboo Sword is that if he MSDs again, we would have no plays, and we are likely to probably get massive damage and possibly KO'd next turn. So we're gonna pick the Trade-in here and ditch one of our Blue Eyes White Dragon. Then we draw our Cards of Consonance, so we're gonna ditch our Flamvell Guard. And now, since we have no targets for our Cards of Consonance, we're gonna activate our Dark Factory of Mass Production and get back the Flamvell Guard from the graveyard. So we're going to activate Cards of Consonance again. And since we already activated Pot of Reality this turn, we can't activate it again, so we're just going to use Upstart Goblin. And Upstart Goblin gives us a Trade-in, and yeah, and it gives us another Trade-in, so we're going to keep activating. And now we have nothing but the Hand Destruction, so we're going to hope to draw something with that. Okay, just in case we run into another Cards of Consonance, I'm gonna keep the White Stone of Legend, since we already have all our Blue Eyes anyway, I think. Did we run to both our Blue Eyes? No, apparently not. We still have one Blue Eyes in our deck. So now I'm going to activate the Cursed Bamboo Sword. And it does not get MSD'd, so we're going to keep using our Golden Bamboo Sword until we draw into more draw engines. Oh, and sorry for the lag again. And no, I don't want to chain my Hand of Destruction. Okay, so yep, just keep drawing more cards using the Bamboo Sword. And we have another Cursed Bamboo Sword, which is currently dead right now, since we can't search for any more Golden Bamboo Sword, or we don't need to equip another one onto the monster on the field. So the choices here is just obviously keep drawing with the Golden Bamboo Sword. And okay, we have our Hidden Armory, but we've already drawn all our 3 Cursed Bamboo Sword, and the other is in the graveyard. So even though this card can fetch one from the graveyard, you don't really want to activate this card. So we're just going to activate Hand Destruction and hopefully draw into the rest of our deck. And yeah, I'm just going to keep activating Hand of Destruction and Sender. Okay, I believe by now we have all of our Exodia pieces, either in our hand or in the graveyard. Wait, do we? Do we have all the Exodia pieces yet? Okay, so we only have the right arm in the graveyard, and wait. Yes, we have all the Exodia pieces. My bad, guys. So now we're just going to activate Dark Factory Mass Production and win the game. And there you go. That's basically how you play Solitaire with Exodia. So hopefully I'll be able to get my uni stuff done within the next 2 weeks, and I'll be actually getting back to doing actually decent deck profiles. And so that's it for now. Till next time, see you guys around.